welcome. This is the Oracle Autonomous AI Database Learning Lounge. I am Marcos Serasibi, a part of the product management team for Autonomous Database. And today we're going to have an amazing session. We're introducing a new product. It's the Oracle Data Science Agent. So Mark Hornick is joining us today, and he's going to be talking about the product, introducing us to it, and talking about how conversational machine learning works with the Autonomous AI Database, how to automate the machine learning processes, right? And also doing, data discovering, profiling, and feature preparation, all of that with the data science agent. But also creating the models, right? Running and creating models in database, so model training, evaluation, and model comparison, all of that in that. And also the important thing is, how to use those models. So it's going to be also showing how those models can be used for scoring and inference right away, but also generate the SQL code that you can use, right, and run in production, for example, for that. So throughout the session, we're going to have product managers helping answer the questions, team from development as well. So if you have questions, make sure to type them in the Q&A in Zoom, okay? And then we're going to make sure to get back to your questions there. We will share links in chat, so please keep an eye in the chat as well. And all the recording, the entire session links are going to be shared through the link that you see there, okay? Speaking of links, I'm just sharing right now some links with you in chat. So this is, getting started with the Autonomous Database, how to learn more about it using live labs, right? And then how to join us in LinkedIn. And especially if you have questions, look for us in the developers Slack. Okay, so the Oracle developers have a Slack workspace where you can actually go in and just ask your question, and we'll have product managers looking at those questions to help you with anything you need. All right? So without further ado, thank you very much, Mark, for joining us today. I'll let you take it away, and then throughout the session, we're going to ask folks for some feedback and some of the knowledge that they have already on their products or what they're looking for in terms of help, right, with data science projects. So again, thank you, Mark, and take it away.
So today we're going to look at how Data Science Agent combines natural language interaction, agent-enabled AI, and machine learning to help you move more easily from data to insights and models. We recently announced general availability on Oracle Autonomous AI Database Serverless across all regions. And some of you may even have had a chance to try the agent during limited availability, and we appreciate the feedback. It's been very helpful in helping us to refine this newest addition to the Oracle Machine Learning Application Suite. So for today's agenda, we're going to start by looking at why AI agents are valuable for data science and machine learning. Then we'll introduce Oracle Data Science Agent and show how a demo using an electric vehicle battery health predictive maintenance example can take you through the various steps. And finally, we'll walk through how to get started and point you to a few helpful resources for learning more. So Marcus, let's start with a quick poll before diving into the material. What slows down your data science and machine learning work? Choose the top three. Is it finding and understanding the right data, or preparing data for modeling? Perhaps it involves choosing features and modeling approaches, explaining results to business stakeholders, moving data between tools or environments. Perhaps you have governance, security, or reproducibility concerns. Maybe you face limited data science or ML expertise on the team. So we see the results are coming in. And the top of the list seems to be finding and understanding the right data at 62%. Preparing and joining data for modeling. About half of you have that concern. Choosing features and modeling approaches. Yeah, there are a lot of options there, and knowing which ones to choose are important. That's about a third. And then explaining results to business stakeholders. Got another one, limited data science or ML expertise on the team. That's at about 37% coming in there. So yeah, there are a number of issues that people have concerns about using this. So thank you for sharing your feedback on this. So, given these challenges, it's clear why simplified and automated data science is so valuable. Organizations today have access to more data than ever, but turning that data into useful decisions is still harder than it needs to be. Data volumes continue to grow, business teams need answers faster, and skilled data science talent remains in short supply. The real challenge is not simply having data, it's converting that data into insights that drive business action. Many organizations still rely on manual analysis, disconnected tools, and one-off machine learning experiments. Now, as a result, promising ideas can stall before they create measurable impact. And this is where simplification and automation can reduce friction. Now, by automating complex, repetitive, or highly specialized steps, you can move faster and make data science and machine learning more accessible across teams. For those familiar with Oracle Machine Learning AutoML capabilities, whether through the no-code UI or Python API, you already know the value of this kind of automation. Now, Oracle Data Science Agent builds on that idea by adding AI-based guidance through the data science and machine learning process. It can help you explore data, prepare it, generate insights, build models, and evaluate results using natural language interactions. Of course, this is not a replacement for data scientists, but it's a way to augment and amplify them. Now, the goal is to reduce bottlenecks, improve consistency, and help teams turn data into decisions faster, at scale, and with greater impact. Now, most organizations don't have just one data science pain point. They have a chain of them. Data may be spread across multiple systems. Business teams may not know which data is reliable, and data scientists often spend too much time cleaning and preparing data instead of solving business problems. There's also the skills gap. Many teams want predictive insights, forecasting, or optimization, but they're often relying on a small number of data experts to deliver them, and this creates bottlenecks and slows the path from idea to impact. Then there's the prototype trap. A model may work well in a notebook or pilot, but getting it into production, monitoring it, and keeping it reliable over time can be much harder. And finally, trust and governance are major concerns. Leaders want to know who accessed data and whether they were authorized, where the data came from, how a conclusion was reached, whether the output is explainable, and if the process can be audited. So these pain points aren't just technical, they're also organizational, operational, and governance related. Now, the challenge is rarely just building a machine learning model. The bigger challenge is the end-to-end process around data, experimentation, deployment, and adoption. Traditional data science workflows often depend on manual efforts. A business stakeholder asks a question. An analyst finds data. A data scientist prepares and models it. An engineer may be needed to deploy it, and another team may be responsible for monitoring it. Each handoff adds delay. It also creates opportunities for context to be lost. The business goal may be clear at the beginning, but by the time the model is built, the output may not fully match the decision the business needs to make. The key point here is that the model itself is only one part of the work. A lot happens before and after model training: data preparation, validation, deployment, monitoring, and business adoption. So with these challenges in mind, enterprises are looking to AI agents and generative AI to give users more natural ways to automate their work. A data science or machine learning agent is an intelligence assistant that helps users move through the analytics and ML workflow, from understanding the data to generating insights, building models, and interpreting results. It's not just a chatbot, and it's not just an AutoML tool. Its value comes from combining natural language interaction, workflow automation, data understanding, automated modeling support, and governance guidance. You should be able to start with a business question, such as, which customers are most likely to churn, or what's driving demand variability in this region. And the agent can then help translate that question into analytical steps. Further, it can inspect available data, recommend features, compare modeling approaches, summarize results, and explain what the outputs mean. For technical users, the agent acts as a productivity accelerator. For business users, it acts as a guided interface into advanced analytics. And for the enterprise, it becomes a way to standardize and scale data science practices. Now, the value of a data science or machine learning agent goes beyond simply building models faster. Of course, speed matters. Many repetitive tasks, such as data profiling, feature preparation, model training, and model comparison, can be automated. And that means a shorter path from question to insight. An agent also improves accessibility. Business users don't need to know the details of algorithms or code to ask good analytical questions. The agent can help bridge that gap so more people can participate in data-driven work. It improves consistency. Instead of every team using different metrics, validation methods, or documentation practices, the agent can guide users through a more repeatable workflow. And it also supports governance and trust. The agent can help capture assumptions, data lineage, model quality, execution details, and decision history. And finally, it helps organizations scale analytics and drive greater operational impact. Data scientists can focus on higher value work, while more teams use guided analytics capabilities safely and consistently. Now that we've discussed the role of a data science agent, let's look at a few examples of where that capability might be applied. In customer and growth scenarios, agents can support use cases like churn prediction, customer segmentation, recommendation models, next best action analysis, and sales opportunity scoring. And these help teams better understand customers, improve customer engagement, and prioritize where to act. Now, in operations and supply chain, common examples include demand forecasting, predictive maintenance, and anomaly detection. These use cases are focused on improving efficiency, identifying issues earlier, and reducing operational disruption. Now, in risk, finance, and fraud, there's fraud detection, of course, risk scoring, financial forecasting, and performance driver analysis. Now, such analysis can be especially useful because it helps teams understand which factors are most associated with business or financial outcomes. An agent can also help produce executive-level insights, support natural language Q&A on data, identify patterns, summarize results, and guide users through the analytical steps needed to move from question to evidence. Across all these examples, there's a common pattern. Start with a business question, access and prepare the right data, explore the data, build and evaluate models, explain the findings, and then apply those insights to business decisions. The important takeaway is that a data science agent can support many types of use cases by helping you move from data to insights that are easier to generate, easier to trust, and easier to act on. So Marcos, it looks like we're ready for our next poll. Which statement best describes your current view of AI agents for data science and machine learning? Perhaps you've already used an AI agent for this, so you're quite comfortable with it. Maybe you're curious, but still want to make sure that humans review and approve the results. Do you think AI agents are useful for repetitive workflow steps? Maybe you're skeptical they can produce reliable results at all. You may trust them for explanation, but not yet for model building. Perhaps you're interested in how they can improve productivity, or mostly care about governance, traceability, and control. So it looks like we're coming in at about 50% that think that AI agents are useful for repetitive workflow steps. It's a decent showing. About 43% curious but want human review and approval. Certainly makes sense. We can't necessarily always trust what LLMs are producing. I'm most interested in how they improve productivity. We're here at about 46% for that. And indeed, that is a major benefit of AI agents. All right, so I think that pretty much covers where we are on that front. About a quarter of you have used an agent for analytics and data science, so you're well versed in what's possible with this. All right, well, thank you for your responses to this poll. So this brings us to the Oracle Data Science Agent. Oracle Data Science Agent supports conversational analytics and machine learning directly within your Autonomous AI Database Serverless instance. In a typical scenario, you start with a native language objective. You might ask the agent to analyze and prepare the data, and help you move into machine learning modeling, and then use the resulting model to make predictions. Now, one of the key points is that Data Science Agent runs where your data is. It combines Oracle machine learning in database algorithms and functionality with the Oracle Select AI Agent framework. So, the analysis, the model building, the prediction, and agent-driven workflow all happen where your data resides, in Autonomous AI Database. Now, business analysts get AI-enabled guidance. Data scientists can move faster through experimentation and iteration, and developers can operationalize results more easily. The data science agent provides a guided experience across the machine learning lifecycle. From a single interface, the agent can help guide you through the process instead of forcing you to move across fragmented tools or disconnected workflows. The data science agent can engage with you interactively at each step along the way. And this gives you direct control over the flow, while also allowing you to inspect the assumptions the agent makes and validate intermediate outputs as you go. Of course, you can also choose to delegate more of the process to the agent and ask it to return the final result. Under the hood, Data Science Agent is built using the Oracle Select AI Agent framework, which orchestrates the different tasks and tools used by the agent. The Oracle Select AI Agent framework allows you to build, deploy, and manage AI agents that run directly in the database. Now, in this first release, Data Science Agent supports in-database classification, regression, anomaly detection, and clustering, and it uses Oracle machine learning algorithms that produce models as first-class objects in your database schema. And as you'll see, these models can then be used directly in SQL queries. Now, here are some key functionality highlights of Data Science Agent. For data discovery, you can ask the agent questions like find tables and views related to customer churn and retention, or describe the columns, data types, and sample rows in the customers table. To explore your data, you might ask, find interesting patterns in my customer data, or what factors are most associated with a customer subscribing to my service. The agent can also help prepare data for analysis and modeling, including creating views that you can access directly. It can generate statistical analyses and visualizations to help you better understand the data and relationships between variables. And business and machine learning models can be as simple as prompting, predict which customers are most likely to subscribe to my service. Now, in each case, the agent interprets the natural language prompt, determines which steps to take, and can proceed either with your guidance or with more of the work delegated to the agent. And we'll see much of this functionality in action in the upcoming demo. Now, as an introduction to the demonstration, consider a use case involving electrical vehicle predictive maintenance. One of the key challenges in managing vehicles and equipment is identifying the need for preventive maintenance at the right time. If maintenance is performed too early, resources may be wasted. But if it's performed too late, the result can be costly repairs, unexpected downtime, and service disruption. In case you were wondering, maintenance areas in general can range from battery health and thermal management to the charging system, brakes, tires, software, and sensor systems, just to name a few. Now, our business goal is to predict which vehicles should be brought in for maintenance involving battery health. Specifically, we want a ranked list of vehicles at higher risk of emergency repair, along with a SQL query that developers could add to an enterprise application. First we'll ask, what fleet battery health data is available? And this helps us identify usable data that's accessible from the database. And then we'll have the agent summarize the data, identify what stands out, and help us understand how common emergency repairs are. Now, after some additional exploration and preparation, we'll ask it to build the best model to predict emergency repairs. And from there, we'll continue through model evaluation, prediction, SQL query generation, and summary analysis. So let's see this in action. And by the way, special thanks to Sherry LaMonica for producing this demo.
Welcome to Oracle Data Science Agent. In this electric vehicle predictive maintenance demo, the Data Science Agent identifies vehicles most likely to need emergency repair so operations can prioritize inspections. We begin with data discovery. The agent inspects battery health data for 100,000 fleet vehicles, including battery measurements, stress scores, risk score, and the repair target. Then we ask the agent to summarize the data and highlight what stands out. It highlights a highly imbalanced target. Most vehicles did not need emergency repair, so positive cases are rare. It also surfaces battery health and operational context fields. We expand attribute statistics and look at the risk score distribution. The spread separates lower and higher risk vehicles. This gives us a starting point for feature preparation. Next, we ask the agent to create low, medium, and high risk tiers from risk score. The agent asks if we'd like to create a view that adds a risk tier column using these thresholds. We accept the agent's suggestion. After we accept, the agent creates the new risk tier view. The visual diagram shows the fleet health view feeding the risk tier derivation, with the result stored in the new database view. We ask how well the tiers predict repairs. High-risk vehicles are about 8 times more likely to need emergency repair. Next, we have the agent select the best algorithm for predicting emergency repairs from our data. It uses XGBoost for feature ranking and runs an automated model search. For in-database model training, the best-performing model is a neural network. It identifies roughly 65% of emergency repairs in the test data, and its AUC is about 0.78, showing useful separation between vehicles that did and did not need repair. We then ask which vehicles are most likely to need emergency repair. The agent uses the predicted probabilities to identify the highest risk vehicles, and those probabilities become the basis for ranking the fleet for inspection. We then have the agent score the fleet and rank the vehicles by predicted repair probability, highest risk first. This creates the ranked inspection list for the next step. The ranked view becomes an inspection list. If the team can inspect 15,000 vehicles per year, the agent estimates repairs caught and potential savings. We ask it to compare the model-driven list with using only the high-risk tier, connecting model performance to inspection capacity, cost, and repair prioritization. The result is an operational decision: which vehicles to inspect first and why. Alongside the business insights, the agent produces the SQL needed to operationalize the solution. In this case, it generates the scoring query that ranks vehicles by predicted repair probability. For the weekly operational workflow, the agent outlines the supporting database objects: a persistent results table, a scheduled scoring job, an optional email notification. The job can run through DBMS Scheduler or an Oracle Machine Learning Notebook job, so the fleet can be rescored on a regular cadence using current fleet data inside Autonomous AI Database. Finally, we run the generated query in an Autonomous AI Database SQL worksheet, where the trained model resides. The output is a ranked inspection list for all 100,000 vehicles, highest risk at the top. In just a few prompts, the agent explored the data, built risk tiers, trained a model, and generated a ranked inspection list and scoring query. Together, Oracle Data Science Agent and Autonomous AI Database support the workflow from data discovery and feature preparation through in-database model training, production scoring, and operational decision-making.
Hey, Mark. So we have a great question that just showed up. I mean, a lot of new questions coming in, but one of them is what setup is needed to get started with the agents? Do you have a link to docs and live labs and things like that? So I think it's coming, right? The links.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm going to walk everyone through some of the setup steps in a few minutes, and then we also have resources at the end that we can share.
Yeah, awesome.
So with that, then, given what we've just covered and the demo you've seen, let's take another poll to see, what capabilities of Oracle Data Science Agent are you most likely to try first, and select all that apply. Is it to discover and inspect available data, profile data quality, completeness, and distributions, explore relationships between predictors and outcomes? And perhaps you want assistance preparing data for modeling, or generate charts and visual analysis. Then there's a feature selection or engineering, training classification or regression models, performing automated model search, evaluating model performance, or scoring new data and generating SQL queries for inferencing. And if there are capabilities that you don't see on this list, feel free to share them in the chat or the Q&A, because we'd love to hear other use cases that you have in mind for this. Now, if we look at the results here, we're about 63% are saying discover and inspect available data. Then we have explore relationships between predictors and outcomes at about 45%. Well over a third of you say profiling data and completeness, data quality, completeness, and distributions. Then about 40% compare and evaluate model performance. So it's pretty even after we get to the discover and inspect available data. I think there are a wide range of cases that people will be taking advantage of. All right, well, thank you for sharing your feedback on this question. So as promised, now we'll cover how to get started with the Oracle Data Science Agent. This is the practical next step. So to start, we want to navigate to the Oracle Machine Learning user interface on Autonomous AI Database. And so from the OCI console with your ADB instance, click Database Actions, and then select View All Database Actions. This will bring you to the Launchpad. And from there, you go to the Development tab and click Machine Learning. And that opens the Oracle Machine Learning UI, where you'll be signed in automatically as an admin user. Now, a regular database user needs to be enabled for Oracle Machine Learning UI. So if this hasn't already been done, go to Database Users under Database Actions as well. And then toggle the OML option and click Apply Changes. At this point, your user is ready. So sign in, or actually sign out of the admin account that you're already in, and then sign back in with your own username. And once you've signed in, you have two ways to access Data Science Agent, either from the menu on the left or from the Quick Action button in the middle of the screen. And this brings you to the Data Science Agent Conversations page. From here, you can create a new conversation, delete selected conversations, or stop a conversation that's currently running. Now, each conversation includes a user-provided title, the AI profile used for that conversation, and the message count, which includes both your prompts and the agent's responses. You'll also see the conversation status, such as active or idle, and whether any background tasks are running to support the conversation. The AI profile, which is a Select AI object, is required to configure Data Science Agent and it's also used with Select AI. And this is where you specify, among other things, which AI provider and model the agent should use. Now, there are several ways to create an AI profile, and in this example, we're using the DBMS Cloud AI Create Profile procedure. You could also use the Select AI for Python API, Data Studio settings, the Private Agent Factory no-code interface, or the Ask Oracle Select AI chatbot. And next, you choose your AI provider. Select AI supports a wide range of providers, including OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, AWS, xAI, and others. And here we're using the OCI GenAI service. Note that the cost for the LLMs that you're using are separate from the database. That is something that is your choice to use what you would like. Then you specify the LLM, and in this case, we're using Grok 4.3. The data science agent documentation provides model recommendations based on what has worked well with the agent. And that's important because not all models perform equally well on agentic tasks or other generative AI use cases, so model choice is important. And finally, you can configure additional attributes, such as temperature and maximum tokens, to further tune the behavior of the LLM and Select AI. Now, when you create a new conversation, you'll provide a conversation title and select the AI profile object from the drop-down menu. You can optionally test the AI profile to make sure it has access to the LLM. And you can also choose whether to automatically include database objects like tables and views associated with the AI profile in the conversation. And then click OK. And this brings you to the conversation, where you can send your first message to the agent. You'll notice that the agent provides several tips for getting started, including using a sufficiently powerful LLM. The best place to start, of course, is with your business goal. From there, you can ask questions about your data or guide the agent through specific steps along the way. And as the guidance notes, there's no need to use technical jargon. The agent adapts to your style, explains terms, and can clarify actions whenever needed. It's also a good idea to keep each conversation focused on one task. If you need to change direction within a conversation, consider starting a new one. Now, when we click the Objects button, we can see the user objects associated with this conversation. And these are the tables and views available to the agent, including the objects we mentioned earlier when discussing the AI profile. You can add more objects here if you want the agent to use them later in the conversation. And you'll also see agent objects. And these are the ones the agent creates as part of the conversation state and its overall processing. So for example, they may include agent-created database views or in-database machine learning model objects. Next, we can see any background tasks that are currently in progress. And these typically appear for longer running operations, like building a machine learning model on a larger data set. Under the Settings button, you'll see the AI profile associated with this conversation, and you can change it if needed. If you click Profile Attributes, you can inspect the details of the selected AI profile. And this is helpful when the profile name alone doesn't tell you enough. You can also view or change the Autonomous AI Database service level used for the conversation. In this example, we have the medium service level selected, which allows modeling and other database operations to take advantage of parallel processing. Now, after interacting through a data science agent conversation, you can use the Select AI agent history views to better understand what happened behind the scenes. And these views provide a traceable record of the agent execution, from the overall team run down to individual tasks and then to specific tools the agent called along the way. At the highest level, the team history views show the overall agent team execution. And this includes details such as the team name, start and end timestamps, and the run state. The task history view goes one level deeper. It captures task level information, including the input parameters, context, state, and results of individual tasks within a team run. And the tool history view provides the most detailed level of traceability. It records tool calls, including which agent and task triggered the tool, when it ran, what inputs were provided, and what outputs were returned. Together, these views help with governance, auditing, debugging, and operational transparency. And they give administrators and developers a way to understand not just the final answer, but how the agent arrived there. Now, for users with the necessary privileges, these views are available through the corresponding user and DBA views, including user AI agent team history, task history, and tool history, along with the matching DBA views. Now, there are a few prerequisites for using Data Science Agent, and you'll find these covered in the product documentation as well. First, to access an LLM, whether through OCI GenAI or a third-party provider, you'll need an AI credential. And it's worth noting that Select AI also supports privately hosted LLMs. Now, since Data Science Agent is built on the Select AI agent framework, you'll also need an AI profile. And that profile, as we discussed earlier, tells the agent which AI provider and model to use, along with other settings that can help tune the results. You need to have your own account with that particular provider if you would like to use it. The account you use to sign in to the Oracle Machine Learning User Interface must have the OML developer privilege, and that toggle button that we showed earlier automatically assigns this as part of the UI experience. And so this is something that the administrator can grant. If you're using a non-OCI GenAI provider, there's also an access control list requirement. And finally, your account needs the appropriate privileges on any tables or views you might want the agent to access. Now, as with most products, there are a few best practices that can help you get better results with Data Science Agent. And these are covered in the documentation, but I'll highlight a few here. First, start by choosing an appropriate model. We've said this a couple of times, but it's worth noting that some recommended models are focused on quality and reliability, while others may be more cost-effective when it comes to speed or cost, and when those matter more. Next, explicitly associate the database objects you want the agent to use. That can include tables, views, and even machine learning models that you've built previously. Then, ask for clarification whenever something isn't clear. You can ask what the agent did, why a step was needed, what assumptions were made, or what a data science term actually means. Now, it helps to work in multiple iterations, break longer workflows into smaller steps, such as data inspection, preparation, model training, and evaluation. And of course, start with a clear objective. The more clearly you state the business or analytical goal, the easier it is for the agent to recommend the right workflow and produce useful results. So to wrap up, here are a few resources that you can use to learn more about Oracle Machine Learning, Data Science Agent, and Select AI. And check out our blogs, starting with the Oracle Data Science Agent announcement blog. We've also included documentation links for Data Science Agent, Oracle Machine Learning, and Select AI. And there are GitHub repositories with Oracle Machine Learning algorithm examples. There are also Select AI pre-built agents that may be useful if you want to explore or take advantage of such agent-based workflows. And finally, Live Labs give you a hands-on way to get started with Oracle Machine Learning and the Select AI agent framework. And a Data Science Agent Live Lab is currently in the works. So stay tuned for access to that. So thanks for your attention. And Marcos, if there's time, we'll be happy to take additional questions.
Yes, perfect. Thank you very much, Mark. Yeah, very interesting session. We've had a lot of great questions so far. Let me see. Well, first I'll want to get people's feedback on the session today. And then if you can, Mark, so let's take a look at the Q&A and read some of the questions there. I think there is one. Yes, so the presentation is going to be shared. And then if you go back to the one of the links that I shared earlier, then I'll share it again. You can always come back to the session, to the Learning Lounge. We have the recordings, the links that Mark shared, and also the slides, right, that he shared are going to be there, okay? All right. Another question was related to whether the MCP server and skills related to these, whether using those capabilities would eventually be able to be used instead of using the UI, I guess.
Well, certainly, I mean, MCP is a whole other technology. We do have an MCP server that is available through Autonomous AI Database, and we can certainly point you to resources in that direction. I think in terms of extending what we do with the data science agent to include other capabilities, that's always a possibility. And so we'll have to review that with development and see which directions we want to go in.
All right. Great. Is the data science agent available on AWS at Azure immediately? Any region constraints? Will older AWS instances get DS agent as well?
Well, Autonomous Database Serverless should have it available across all regions. I'm not aware of any limitations on that.
So yeah, so I have tested already with Azure, so I'm sure it works. But the thing is checking the availability, but I think it's going to be readily available everywhere. So if you have an ADBS on Azure, you go to the OCI links there, and then you go into database actions, and that's where Mark showed accessing OML and then going to the UI. So you're going to have access to that for sure. So that's not going to be an issue. Okay, can you provide some roadmap as a beginner? How do we start learning about Oracle Data Science Agent for the Autonomous AI database? So I think the Live Lab is probably going to be a great place, right, Mark, to start?
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, the documentation is very helpful until that actually comes out. And as we covered some of the steps that are necessary to migrate through, the various aspects of the machine learning process, I think that the agent can help guide you. Feel free to give it a try and ask questions to help you understand what perhaps the next step should be. As I mentioned earlier, define what the problem is that you're trying to solve, and ask the agent for guidance as to what you could do with the data that you have available.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's something that people sometimes don't realize, right? Is that you can just start if you want to ask it. Is there data available to answer these or that question, right? The agent is smart enough to actually go and fetch that information for you and formulate the steps, right, by itself using a proper machine learning workflow, right, that would give you the right answer. So I think as Mark said, don't feel afraid of starting or trying. I think that's definitely the experience that I've had with it, right? Is just start playing with it, and you see the kinds of things that it can find are very, very interesting. Another question was same question for AWS and GCP, right? Google Cloud. The answer is the same. Yeah. So again, same thing. You're going to have a link on AWS, a link on your Google Cloud autonomous database that is running there. You're going to have a link to DB Actions, and then from there you can go into OML and then get that access to the DS agent, right? And then the beauty of that is it can, because autonomous database have access to all your local data that is running in AWS, in Azure, in GCP, right? You're able to use those tables. So the agent is actually asking the database that is located into those data centers, right? to look into that data that you have access there, look into the object storage data, the Azure blob storage, or whatever it is, right? AWS S3, things like that. So yeah, it's very practical for that. If ADBS is running in the multi-cloud, can we configure the profile to use the LLM available in the hyperscalers cloud? Yes, for sure. Yeah, that's something that I actually did a recording and testing of exactly that for Microsoft Build event that we were presenting exactly that on Azure, right? So the idea is, yes, you run the model from within. You create your profile that runs the model that runs inside that hyperscaler data center, right? Okay, so I think that's pretty much it in terms of questions. Again, thank you very much, Mark, for the session. It was great. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I will leave this open. So the call is still on. I'll leave this running. If you guys still have questions, please type them in the Q&A. And then we're going to make sure to get back to you, right, by email. And then in the meantime, you know, my panelists are still able to respond or reply to your questions over there, okay, in the Q&A. So for now, then, what I'm doing is I'm going to share, again, the same links that I shared at the beginning, so that you guys have in terms of the Autonomous AI Database, and then how to get back to the Learning Lounge and how to get the recording and access to all the links, okay? So you can see those in the Zoom chat. If you go back to this site, right, to the go to ADB Learning Lounge, that's where you're going to find recordings, the replays, right, and the links. And then thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. And thank you to all the panelists that helped out with questions. Talk to you guys later. Thank you.